Good morning, church. Good morning, church. All right, so all my beautiful queens in the house, the women in the house, the ladies in the house, can you just shout hallelujah? All right, so as Minister Ronke said, March 8th was International Women's Day. Can we have the slides up? So while we're waiting for the slides, who can tell me what International Women's Day is all about? Is it just about looking pretty? No? All right. So International Women's Day is about celebrating social, economic, cultural, political achievements of women in our society. It is also a day that marks the call to action for accelerating gender parity. We know in the world today, a lot of women, well, most women, we have to fight for what we have. We have to fight for the positions that we have in the world today. But we're calling for action. And United Nations this year, next slide, celebrated Women's Day, focusing on investing in women. So all our men in the house, what are you going to do? To the ladies that you know, to the women in your lives, what are you going to do? All right. And it's not just about investing with your pockets, but investing in terms of support, investing in terms of putting the women that you know around you forward. So one thing to highlight, did you know that in the world today, there's $360 billion deficit in spending on gender equality measures? Do you know how much 360 billion is? If I had 360 billion, I mean, I'll have an island. But what does that tell you? It tells you that there's a lot that we need to do to invest in our women. Next slide. All right, so what are the top 4 gender gaps? We see gender gaps in political empowerment, gender gaps in economic participation and opportunity, gender gaps in educational attainment, health, and survival. And if you see, it would take 135.6 years to close this gender gap worldwide. That is a lot of time. But what are we calling to action this year? We have to accelerate progress. Next slide. All right, so what are the benefits of investing in our women? If you know, God gave women the gift of multiplication. You know that, right? So whatever you put in the hand of a woman, what are we going to do? So just imagine if we benefit all the benefits in investing in women, so economic empowerment. So look at all the businesses, what we invest in our society, gender equality, social impact. I mean, women were the ones who invest back in our societies, our children, raising our children, being mentors to other women in the world today. Consumer insights. I mean, if you need market research, if you ask a man, how was this thing today? They'll say, it was all right. It was good. But when you ask a woman, what would we do? We'll give you the story. The beginning, the end, everything. The middle, we'll give you everything. And then diverse perspective. So again, what is our focus this year? Invest in women. Restoration Church men, what are we going to do? Invest in our women and our teenagers, our young ones as well. All right, next slide. All right, so what are the key areas needing action? The first one, again, is investing in women. Gender equality is the greatest human challenge in the world today. Ending poverty. Since COVID, we can see that a lot of people have fallen below the poverty line. So what does that mean? We have to make sure that we are investing in our women, invest in our children, and also how do we change the gender gap in terms of pay, in terms of opportunities, in terms of financing as well for women in our society. We have to support our gender equality change makers and also shifting to a green and economy and care society. Next slide. All right, so Restoration Church, what are we doing today? We're celebrating Women's Day. So Restoration Church, we acknowledge the importance of women in our society and celebrates every single woman here in our church today in the extension of our society in Greenbelt and all over the world to fulfilling their divine purpose in and outside of our homes. All right, so today we are going to celebrate special women in our midst. They're going to come up here. We have a panelist of women that will come up and speak to us today. So we're placing a special spotlight on our women who have businesses and inspiration for our young girls and women in our community. So I'd like to bring up Sister Tom Faborede. And introduce our panelists to you. So we have Timileyin Akpeleyin. We have Sister Kende Musibao. We have our very special minister, Ronke Bolutayo. And then the very special woman who's a blessing to us in this church, Pastor Abby Daramo.
Thank you. Good morning, church. Wow, I'm so excited. I love women. I love us. We're beautiful in every way. All right. Can our panelists please come up? Thank you. Please clap, church, clap. All right. Year in, year out, right? We celebrate International Women's Day. We measure all the metrics. We benchmark the progress against genders. I know. Thank you. We measure progress against the gender, the male counterpart. And the gap is still staggering, right? A lot of investment, but the gap is still there. And only in the US, right, there are 13 million women-owned businesses in the US. But these 13 million, they only constitute 46% of businesses. But today, there are a lot of issues to deep dive on. You have the political economy of women, the economic aspect. But we're going to deal with women in business, because when women are empowered economically, they can really change the world. So this morning, I would introduce a dynamic set of women who have done very well, excellently in business. My name is Adeton Faborede. I'll be facilitating this morning. So first up, we have Timileyin Akpeleyin. Timileyin is the founder and creator of Timmy's Bakehouse. Timileyin has a culinary education background and currently pursuing a degree in business administration. She's a passionate entrepreneur. She enjoys reading and gardening in her spare time. Please, a round of applause for Timileyin. And then we have Minister Moronke Bolutayo. She's an attorney with a very impressive background in corporate law. Over 25 years of experience practicing as an attorney. She's the head of a legal department at Blevity Incorporated. She's also the founder of Resourcery Kits, specializing in crafting delectable custom cakes for all occasions. Please, a round of applause for her. Following that, we have Miss Kende Musibao. She's a sociology graduate, a wife and mother. She excels at skilled wig styling, and she's a successful business owner of Wig Laundromat. She balances family and career with determination. And lastly, but not the least, please a round of applause for our pastor, Pastor Abby. She wears so many hats, and I cannot do justice to all of who she is, but I'll try to summarize. She's the CEO of Blooming Branches Learning Center, Executive Director of the African Missions North America. She's also the lead pastor of this church. Please, a round of applause for Pastor. She brings a world of experience, not just in the public nonprofit sector, but also privately managing her business. She leads this congregation excellently. and she will bring that wealth of experience to this panel. And so let's get straight into business. Timilane, you are the youngest on this panel, and so we'll start with you. Despite your age, you have been successfully navigating your business, and you've been in this world for almost 5 years, right? And also in between, you were pursuing your studies. Could you share with us, how you ventured into this business at such a young age, how you have managed to stay consistent while juggling your academic responsibilities?
First of all, thank you guys for having me. In terms of how I got started with baking, like I've always been surrounded by people. I've always been surrounded by people who are in the kitchen all the time and always like taking care of people, and I guess that's where I get my sense of hospitality from. In terms of staying consistent, I've definitely had to learn how to fail. I'm someone who likes to control everything, and so when something doesn't work out, I like to take a step back and reevaluate. Sometimes taking a step back can help me get a new sense of perspective in pursuing what I'm doing.
That was very insightful. I like the perspective of sort of transforming your natural hospitality as a woman into a business. That perspective is very insightful. And so my next question goes to Kenny. As somebody who balances family life with entrepreneurship, what specific challenges have you faced, and how have you navigated those challenges?
Yeah, so I started my business in 2020, and it was quite challenging because I work full time then, and I was starting a business, and I'm a mother, I'm a wife. So it was a lot challenging in the aspects of managing the family, my work, and business. And the business was like a side also to me. But eventually, I wasn't enjoying the work I was doing at the time. So I stopped working. I focused mainly on my business and the family. But as a matter of fact, the fact that I focused on the business, I was still having challenges balancing the family. I own a studio to myself where I work, and sometimes I find myself just working 10 hours without even remembering to go up to make something for the family or have time to do my son's homework and all. So, but recently I was able to adjust my timing by prioritizing, scheduling, time my clients, and work from like 9 to 5. So I was able to be present in the family, be present for my husband and the business as well.
That is really awesome. So I hear you that also rebalancing and sort of, prioritizing your scheduling has also helped to help you lean in. How is, just to build up on that, how has the role of support around your system, how has that contributed to how you leaned in?
So thank God for my wonderful husband.
Rounder?
Sometimes when I fail, because I don't get it right all the time, sometimes I still fail, I still work like that, but he steps up into the role. Sometimes I get into the house and all the dishes are cleaned. The whole house is clean.
Wow.
And he makes sure that I have something to eat too.
Wow.
And he does the role of taking my son to school, and he does it very well. And it's really helped me.
Wow. My next question is to Attorney Moronke. So you have successfully worked as an attorney for over 20 years. and your impressive background. You've done very well as an attorney. You've also done very well in business. I wonder if your legal um, your legal background has contributed to how you have structured your business. And so we want to hear from you. How have you managed to combine the challenges of both responsibilities and, what structures have you put in place to sort of continue to push your business?
Thank you. So two things stand out for me. One is grace and one is passion. I can't talk too much about passion. Pastor has talked about that severally over the past couple of weeks. So number one, I'm doing that business purely out of passion. Of course, it's profitable, and I can say that the first, don't even know how many years, I wasn't making money because I was just giving people cakes for free, or I'll just chat for the cost of my. Until now, I still do a lot of free cakes anyways. But because of the passion, it keeps me up at night. My career, I won't call it 9 to 5 because I'm still working till like 8, 9 most days p.m. But I would say that every night, weekends I have cakes. I start baking since Tuesday. So you know that means from Tuesday night till Friday, Saturday night, I'm barely catching 4 hours, 3 hours, 2 hours sleep, depending on how it goes. But because of the passion I have for the business, it just keeps me going and I keep doing it. A lot of times I'll be like, I'm not doing this anymore. But I just love it. When you're done and you see the outcome, you go back again. And that is just the driving force. It's the passion. And that has been very, very helpful. And like I said, I give my job, my 9 to 5 job, all the attention it needs. Then after I stop working, that is when I go into the business and start doing what I need to do. So that's how I've been able to divide my time.
So I'm a little bit of an Oliver Twist here. So I really want some more. I want to leverage, I really want to draw from your legal background to see how businesses, small businesses can, thrive. How can they, sort of what structure can you maybe recommend 1 or 2 things? Nothing too deep. We can just dip our feet in the water here.
So first of all, I'll say you must have standards and you don't go below your standards. Now, people will come and definitely try to price you. Once you create your standard, don't go below it. That is really, really important because you know the time, you know the effort, you know the quality you're putting into what you're doing. So do not go below it. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do good. And then fairness is very important. If I'm charging you the same rate I'm charging somebody else because it's the same clients that still bring people back. So fairness is really, really important. And it's just a matter of being firm. People will someone still told me 2 days ago, I have someone who makes my cakes. So you need to bring down your price. But I tasted your cake somewhere and I really liked it. And I said, that is exactly the difference. So fairness and standards. There was no way I could charge that person less than the person who introduced her because the word will go around. So fairness and the standard cannot be dropped.
Wow. Thank you. So, Pastor Abby, lastly, the last question is to you. You are the CEO of Blooming Branches Learning Center. You have a wealth of experience running in the education sector. You have a wealth of experience running a nonprofit and even a church, which is even the hardest, I suppose. And I feel like we need a whole session for Pastor Abby. But we will take what we have. So my question to you this period is: failure is a common fear for many aspiring entrepreneurs. Can you share with us a time when you faced failure in business endeavors, how you overcame it, and perhaps shed some light on resources available to minority-owned businesses in Maryland?
Yes, I failed several times. A lot of people don't know when you see success, really when you talk to the person who you believe is successful, you'll be able to hear that they failed more than the time you see the success. Yes, I have. There was a time my husband decided to give me a birthday gift and decided to open a restaurant for me without me knowing because it's Abby's Kitchen. I don't know any of you would have, it's in Baltimore somewhere. It's because he said, because you love cooking, you love to cook, which is true. Not anymore now, but then you don't love to cook. And this is where you differentiate between passion and a good idea, or a good idea or something you just love to do. And it went belly down. It went belly up, rather. It was a mess. Why? Because cooking for my family is not cooking for the public. And meanwhile, I was working in the IT field. So to manage it was terrible. And number two, one of the things that caused the failure was I was not a subject matter expert in that field. Now I'm going to go to Blooming Branches. I started Blooming Branches, and Blooming Branches was almost a failure. Why? Several things I did not consider. Number one, I love people. I love children, which is great. It's not enough for you to start anything, but to ensure that it gives you the beginning of research. I lost a lot of money, at least over 100 and something, more than 100 and something $1,000. Why? Because I did not have an expertise in the area of childcare. And because I did not do my due diligence in doing the research on what this business entails, therefore I had to go through a season of loss, catching up to train, and then rising to the occasion. So what you see today as Blooming Branches, those who know the story will know that it has been a lot of crying and disappointment and dropping the ball and almost giving up. So yes, one of the things I'll say concerning taking on a new business is, number one, the passion is good, but the passion must be tested. Her passion was tested, and that is why when she was losing money, she kept going. There are certain things you love to do. When you start doing it and you start realizing what it takes, you find out that it's no longer a passion, but it's something that you just have somewhere in your head that you love to do. And those are the times you need to step back and think, is this something I can do for the long run? Because when you're going to do a business, often at times, and most of the times, it doesn't come with the profit. But you can see the end result, and that's what's going to drive you. So I don't know what else you want me to say, except the fact that, number one, it's important for you to have the knowledge. Number two, you have to realize that for you to be able to win, you must be ready to know that it's possible for you to lose, and you cannot give up. That's another one. Anyway, and then resources. It's just a short period. Resources. One of the things that I've utilized is utilizing interns and utilizing volunteers. And how do you get these things? For those who have businesses, I use the PG Community College. I go to, and some of you have seen me every now and then. I just walk in and I say, oh, Joyce, all of the, I go in and talk to the recruiting department. I said, you know what? I need volunteers to be a teacher, to do bookkeeping, to do this and that, and I'll give them something. And I was able to be registered in their portal. So if you go into PG Community College portal, if you go to Howard County Community College portal, you'll find my business in there saying that they have opportunities for you. For those of you who are starting, you need a law firm, you want to start, whatever it is, you want to sew, whatever, you'll be surprised to find those who are in college who are willing to work with you and to gain experience, gain internship, and even make some money. So that's one of the things I've done. Also, it's good to have a mentor. There's someone who is doing this business that you can always talk to and pick their brains and start talking to them and let them hold your hands in doing the business. I've done that, and it has helped Blooming Branches tremendously. Even the church. Everything you see in this church is not Pastor Abby's big idea. I have other churches, other pastors that I leverage on, that I'm always seeking their counsel so that Restoration Church can be what it is today.
Thank you, Pastor. Guys, there's so much to unpack, right? We just have to deep dive at some point. But in the interest of time, I'll just summarize real quick. We've learned the value of having value for money, giving your clients value for money. We've learned how important it is for family to support. We've also learned that your passion is important. We've also learned how to use resources that are available to us, the value of mentorship. And we will continue to have this conversation. It's not the end. There's so much to unpack, guys. So thank you very much to our panelists for their time and for this very insightful time.